Hello, this is Jessica with On a Stack of Books, and this is the quote made me read it. The quote is, "I feel about travel the way a happy new mother feels about her impossible, colicky, restless newborn baby. I just don't care what it puts me through, because I adore it, because it's mine, because it looks exactly like me. It can barf all over me if it wants to. I just don't care." What is that book? So if you guessed Eat, Pray, Love, then you are correct. This is a very popular book. It has been around for a while. I realize this is not new, but I really loved this book. I enjoyed it a lot, and so I did journal my favorite quotes and what I thought of the book, and so I thought as a paper craft it could just be that you sort of see the process that I went through of how I did my journaling and my notation of what I liked and what stuck with me. I do love to scrapbook, and I do love to have that paper craft element. I had to go find this book. I loved it. The funny thing about it was that I totally related to her as far as a mother and how I felt about my children. But of course, she's relating, or she is using that to describe how she feels about travel. And I don't travel well. I don't love travel. I like it. It interests me. I think it's amazing and wonderful, but I'm not someone that is willing to put up with anything for the sake of travel. I'm a homebody. So, look, I was not disappointed at all. And there was just so many gems in the story that I loved, and so I am going to share some of the quotes that I really enjoyed. Dante writes that God is not merely a blinding vision of glorious light, but that he is most of all the love that moves the sun and the other stars. I did section it Eat, Pray, Love, as it is in the story, where she travels to 3 places and focuses on those 3 things. So in Italy it was the eat, and then in India it was the pray, and in Bali it was the love. And I really loved going on the journey with her. I found it fascinating, and I think I would greatly enjoy it. But I think, like a lot of people, it's not very feasible. So that's why we enjoy these books so much, because we get to go on the journey with her. So another quote that I really loved was, "Keep your feet firmly grounded as if you have 4 legs instead of 2. Stop looking at the world through your head. Look with your heart. Then you will know God." And I do believe that was her friend, her guy that she would go see every day. I can't remember him now. Was it, "You were given life. It is your duty and also your entitlement as a human being to find something beautiful within life, no matter how slight." And so I think she was on this journey to try to find the light, the beauty, the positive, find her way without getting rid of the uncomfortable and the ugly, because it's part of it. And in that process, one story, or one thing that I remember, was she was praying, and she went to I think it was just a local park, and she decided to meditate, and she was gonna pray or sit there for it was an hour, it may have been several hours, I don't remember exactly, but she started to get bitten by mosquitoes, gnats, and at first, she was sort of thinking, "Oh, I'm not going to be able to do this," and then it became the task at hand, like, okay, I can do this. I set out to sit here, and I set out to pray and meditate, and even with this distraction, this annoyance, this discomfort, maybe even pain and the itch, she pushed through and was trying to put it into practice. And that definitely sticks out in my head from the story. I think my favorite part was definitely pray section, when she was in India and everything that she went through, because it wasn't just like, I'm gonna go pray and it was magical and wonderful. It was hard. It pushed her out of her comfort zone. She loved travel and she was open to any experience. The gain was definitely worth the discomfort, and the suffering. And I always think of that, through suffering comes endurance. And so it just sounded like an amazing experience. And to stay at the temple and to pray and follow their schedule and just trust the process. And the process was definitely not what she planned or what she expected. Part of it was to sit still and maybe not rush through and not have an agenda and not go here and there and everywhere, but to kind of sit and be still. And there was a quote, the Zen masters always say that you cannot see your reflection in running water, only in still water. So I do find myself always kind of coming back to that idea or that Bible verse, that, we're very much trying, we're going, we're doing. I've got lists and I've got schedules, and you're going, and you're always trying to do more, and we're trying to cram it all in and go places and see things and experience things. And sometimes you just have to sort of find that peaceful spot and maybe sit in an uncomfortable place for a little bit and see what it feels like and stay there. And then this quote is, so the context was someone basically saying that she did not think that she was a good devotee. She did not love God enough. And it was a saint that was speaking to her, and he asked her, do you not love anything? And she says that she adores her young nephew more than anything on earth. So she just loves her nephew. And he says, there then, he is your Krishna, your beloved. In your service to your nephew, you are serving God. This is from page 170. So again, I think sometimes people make it so difficult, the prayer and the shame and the guilt, and like, oh, I'm not doing enough, I'm not this, I'm not that. But if you think about the goodness and the love that you give to family and friends and animals and strangers and anybody, anything, it makes God smile. Okay, and then this quote is found on page 206. People follow different paths, straight or crooked, according to their temperament, depending on which they consider best or most appropriate, and they all reach you just as rivers enter the ocean. I took this quote to mean, it could be religion, it could be anything, but that we all have different paths, but we're all seeking the same thing. I like to believe that we're all seeking the same God, even if we are calling it any number of things, and that all of those different paths, as the different rivers and springs, flow into the ocean. That is how I took it. And so, of course, I thought it was beautiful because it brought in nature, and I love that. So, again, that's why I like the quote. So it resonated with me for sure. And I enjoyed putting this together and journaling and getting my thoughts down. And I really like how it turned out. I had some old magazines that I had torn the pages out because I really loved the illustrations or the photographs or just how they had done it. And so I kept them thinking that I would use them in some capacity, and it just worked out perfectly here. I really loved how it all came together. Until next time, I will be reading.